Pokemon White is my favorite Pokemon game, and I've always loved the Unova region. They have some of my favorite Pokemon, and I wanted to attempt a challenge to beat Pokemon White using the 6 weakest fully evolved Unovan Pokemon. These 6 will be revealed as the video goes on, but that's enough introduction. Let's get into the challenge. The first Pokemon is Patrat, who I caught on Route 1 and named Paddington. Patrat evolves into Watchog, who has a whopping base stat total of 420, which is the lowest in Unova. I then made my way to Accumula Town, saw Team Plasma give a speech, and battled N, who maybe has the best battle music in all of Pokemon. And went onward to Route 2, where I caught a Purloin and named it Luxury. Purloin evolves into Leopard, who is the 5th weakest Pokemon in Unova, with a base stat total of 446. I defeated Bianca, then Charon, and then entered the Striaton City Gym. I battled Silent, since I chose Oshawott at the start. I started out with Luxury against Silent's Lillipup. I continuously scratched it while I kept on working up, but luckily Silent's Lillipup's only attack move is Bite, which Purloin resists. I eventually knocked out Lillipup, and Silent sent out his Pansage while I switched to Paddington. I took out Pansage and got my first badge. I then made a beeline for Route 1 so I could catch my next Pokemon. There's a mechanic introduced in Generation 5 called Rustling Grass, where certain spots of grass will rustle. You unlock this mechanic after you get your first badge. In Route 1, Audino has a 100% chance to appear in the Rustling Grass. I waited until Rustling Grass appeared, caught the Audino, and named her Nurse Joy. Audino has a base stat total of 445, making her the 4th weakest Unovan Pokemon. While this seems low, she is a great support Pokemon and helped me immensely on my journey. I went back to Striaton City, defeated Team Plasma again in the Dream Yard, and got the Dream Mist for Fennel. I then continued on to Route 3, where Team Plasma was up to more trouble. I defeated them with Charon and caught my 4th Pokemon, Woobat, who I named Luna. Swoobat has a base stat total of 425, making her the 2nd weakest Unovan Pokemon. I got to Nacrene City after catching Luna and battled N outside the museum. While battling the gym trainers, Paddington evolved into Watchog and Luxury evolved into Leopard. To start off my battle with Lenora, her Herdier intimidated me, which was annoying, and then I missed my Hypnosis while her takedown did over half. Not off to a great start. Luckily, my next Hypnosis hit and I switched into Luxury, but Herdier immediately woke up and takedown did half again. I healed up Paddington while Luxury evaded another takedown and got off one sand attack before fainting. I switched back to Paddington and confused Herdier while takedown got a low roll and didn't do half. After some evasion and confusion hacks, I was able to take down get it? Herdier. Lenora's Watchog was out next, and she got me down to the red, but I once again got lucky with confusion hacks. I got her down to 1 HP, but she healed up with the super potion. I got her back down to the red again before she took me out, but Nurse Joy was able to come in and deliver the final slap. After that intense battle, I had my 2nd gym badge. Right after the battle, Team Plasma stole the Dragonite skull, so I had to go and fight all the grunts in the Pinwheel Forest to retrieve the skull before heading to Castelia City. I crossed the Sky Arrow Bridge, the coolest place in all of Unova, and then Team Plasma was up to more trouble in Castelia City. They stole Bianca's Muna, but I got it back, and now it was time to face the 3rd gym, Berg. I wanted Luna to get some action in this fight since I hadn't really used her yet, but I did not realize that Berg's Whirlipede knows Pursuit. Not only did it do over half, I missed my Air Cutter, a 95% accurate move, and I missed it. I got off one Air Cutter before being KO'd. I switched into Paddington, and after healing and hits being exchanged, I was able to take out his Whirlipede, but I did get poisoned in the process. Dwebble was next, and I got him to below half before being taken out. Nurse Joy was up next, and after a lot of RNG, I was able to take Dwebble out. Leavanny was Berg's final Pokemon, and I attracted him first, and then I kept on missing my secret powers and double slaps, while Leavanny kept on getting immobilized by love and fully paralyzed. If you're wondering how I paralyzed Leavanny's secret power is a move that changes based on where you are. Since I was in a building, secret power becomes Body Slam, which can paralyze the opponent. Anyway, I eventually defeated Berg and had gotten my 3rd badge. I left the gym, beat Bianca and Charon, traversed through Route 4, and defeated more Team Plasma grunts in Nimbasa City and got my bicycle. I ran into Bianca while trying to leave westward to get my next Pokemon, and she made me go into the musical, which I forgot was a mandatory part of this game. I dressed up my Woobat, saw Lisa fix Bianca's family problems, but I was really just trying to get to Route 5. I eventually was set free and started working on my next encounter. It's another wrestling grass, but this time instead of 100% chance, it's a 10% chance. After what I thought would be longer than it took, I found my 5th Pokemon, Emolga, who I named Doc. Emolga has a base stat total of 428, being the 3rd weakest Pokemon in Unova. But it was a major help for the upcoming gym, because I didn't know if I could beat Elisa without it. I went back to Nimbasa City, fought N once more, awesome battle music, and rode the Ferris wheel while he told me the biggest plot twist in all of Pokemon. He's the king of Team Plasma. Anyway, I got off the Ferris wheel and entered the gym, and it was time to take on Elisa. We started off Emolga via Emolga, and I OHKO'd her first Emolga with a charge-boosted Electro Ball. I tried to use the same strategy against the second Emolga, but this time she Volt Switched, sending out Zebstrika, so I healed instead. It didn't matter though, as Zebstrika took me out with 2 Sparks before I could even land a single hit. Luckily, I got a Paralysis with Doc's ability Static as Doc fainted. I switched to Nurse Joy and got Zebstrika down into the red thrice, but Zebstrika got the final blow against Nurse Joy with a quick attack. Luxury was my next mon out, and I used Fake Out to KO Zebstrika, and Elisa's second Emolga was her last Pokemon left. I got a bit of damage off, but Emolga knocked Luxury out with a few Volt Switches. Paddington was my last resort since Luna still hadn't evolved and would get absolutely destroyed by a Volt Switch. Luckily, I got lucky with Confusion Hacks and was able to take out the Emolga with 2 crunches. That was the new most intense battle, and I had now already completed half of the gym with 0 whiteouts. I tried to leave Nimbasa City to get to Driftvale, but Sharon challenged me again, but he just needs to stop. And I got to Driftvale after the bridge was drawn, which looked very cool in my game because it was sunset. I got to Driftvale, which by the way has the 3rd best theme in Pokemon, behind N's battle theme and the lake theme in Sinnoh. Sharon and I met Clay, and now it was time to get the absolute MVP of this run, who I genuinely could not have done this without, and I have grown so much appreciation for this Pokemon, the in-game trade Basculin. It has a 460 base stat total, which is actually pretty good, not bad at all, and it has a 92 attack plus 98 speed, meaning Aqua Jet is insane on him. He's the 6th weakest Unovan Pokemon, meaning he's the strongest on my team. I had to trade him in Chino for him, and since I was playing white, I got the Blue Stripe Basculin, who was already named Blue Eye, and for some weird reason, the devs didn't combine the E's in Blue and I, so he has 3 E's in his name. I just thought that was weird. Anyway, I went to the cold storage and totally didn't struggle with the ice puzzle and have to look up a guide, and defeated more Team Plasma Grunts with Sharon. I had an encounter with Getsus outside the Driftvale gym, and after that, entered the gym. Luna finally evolved into Swoobat while battling the gym trainers and finally became useful in major fights. I got a break from stressful fights when I battled Clay since Blue Eye and Luna took care of him no problem. I was now over halfway done with the gyms and headed towards Chargestone Cave, which is also the coolest cave in Pokemon. Unova really is just the greatest region in Pokemon, huh? The Shadow Triad pointed me where to go, and I battled more Plasma Grunts and then battled N. I got to Mistralton City, met Skyla, and traveled to Celestial Tower because there was a problem on top. Turns out there was nothing and I just wasted my time. Anyway, I went back to the city to challenge the gym, and the gym puzzle involves a player getting launched where they should definitely break both their legs. In one of them, your whole body just smacks the wall and you get up like nothing happened. Anyway, this battle with Skyla was an easy sweep for Doc, and I got my 6th gym badge. Right as I step outside the gym, N starts talking about his master plan to separate Pokemon and people, and then I leave for Twist Mountain. Sharon stops me to battle again, and I defeat him again. I eventually get through Twist Mountain and get to Icarus City, where I immediately go to challenge the gym. One confusing ice puzzle later, I start my battle with Bryson. I start with Luxury while Bryson begins with Vanillish. Vanillish uses Acid Armor, which raises his defense by 2 stages, but I eventually get him down to the red, but he heals, so I switch to Nurse Joy. I paralyzed him with a Thunder Wave and expected a long and grueling battle with Vanillish, but I one-shot him with a crit return. I keep Nurse Joy in while Bryson sends in Beartic. I paralyze Beartic and also set up a Reflect and knock him out with a few returns. Bryson's last Pokemon is Cryogonal, who I paralyzed and then OHKO with return. Nurse Joy was definitely the MVP of this fight, and I was not expecting it. I got my 7th badge and headed to Dragon Spiral Tower, where Team Plasma was causing trouble. I fought some grunts and reached the top where N summons Reshiram with the Lightstone. Then I ran around the Unova region, encountering Team Plasma in all different places. First was Relic Castle, where I see Alder arguing with Getsus. Then I went over to Nakreen City and got the Darkstone from Lenora. Then I went back to Icarus City and traveled east towards Opalucid. On the Two-Blind Bridge, I had an eerie encounter with Getsus, where he revealed his true intentions with Team Plasma, and then I made it to Opalucid City. I immediately challenged Iris after being confused by her gym puzzle, which took me way too long to figure out. I was pretty worried about this fight because of Iris' Haxorus, who has Dragon Dance and could definitely set up and sweep my team. I started the battle with Doc while Iris began with Fracture. I was able to take it out with 2 acrobatics because the move's power is doubled if your Pokemon is not holding an item. While Iris sent out Druddigan, I switched Nurse Joy. I paralyzed her Druddigan and then switched into Doc, who took Druddigan out with a few acrobatics. I switched back to Nurse Joy for Haxorus, who started setting up Dragon Dances while I paralyzed her and set up a Reflect. I switched into Blue Eye, who got a crit one-shot double edge on Haxorus, ending her before big damage could be dealt. I let out a huge sigh of relief and got my final badge and was ready to take on the Pokemon League. I left Opalucid and destroyed Charon for the final time before getting to the badge check. And can I just say, Black and White has such a cool badge check. I like how every room is themed to the different gym leaders. I maneuvered through Victory Road and made some finishing touches to my team, and this was the team that took on the Elite Four. You can pause the video if you want to take a closer look at their movesets and held items. I started off against Chantal, since you can pick the order you fight the Elite Four in this game. I tried to set up with Nasty Plot and Night Slash on Luxury, but Chantal's Golurk took out Luxury with a Brick Break. I was able to finish off Golurk with Blue Eye and take out Jellicent with Doc, then Chandelier with Blue Eye again. My next opponent was Marshall, which was the closest battle of all of the Elite Four. I took out his throw with Doc, but got low on health, so I switched to Luna against Sock. I hit Sock with a Twisted Spoon and stat boosted Psychic, but he lived on 1 HP, and then he KO'd me with a Stone Edge. I was actually able to take him out with Luxury though, since she knows Aerial Ace, but Conkeldurr took Luxury out. I brought out Doc and he got 1 acrobatics off, but also got taken out by a Stone Edge. I sent out Nurse Joy next, who set up a Reflect and got Conkeldurr into the red before Marshall healed, so I Toxic'd him and let him take me out. My only 2 Pokemon left were Blue Eye and Paddington, so I had to hope Blue Eye could handle the rest of Marshall's team, and he did exactly that. He took out Conkeldurr with an Aqua Tail and did the same to Mienshao along with an Aqua Jet. I think you're starting to realize why Basculin is so great. Next up was Grimsley, who I was the most worried about since I had 0 super effective moves against Dark types. I started off with Doc against his Scrafty, who was taken out with 1 acrobatics. I sent out Blue Eye against his Crocodile and got intimidated, which annoyed me because I just barely didn't kill with Aqua Tail, and Grimsley used a Full Restore, plus Earthquake did over half. I eventually took him out and sent out Nurse Joy against his Bisharp. I paralyzed him and set up a Reflect, also healing Blue Eye in the process. I switched back to Blue Eye, who took out Bisharp. I kept Blue Eye in, and he also took out Grimsley's final Pokemon, Leopard. That's all 3 Elite Four battles so far that Blue Eye has carried. Basculin has definitely become one of my favorite Pokemon to use. Luxury redeemed herself against Caitlin's team, taking out everyone except Sigilith, who Doc took care of. With that, there were only 2 more fights left before beating the game, and I just want to put a disclaimer that I did use Max Revives against N and Getsus, and I'm not ashamed of it. I probably could have beaten Getsus without them, but definitely not N since I didn't add Zekrom to my team and had to fight a Reshiram. Sorry if that ruins the integrity of the challenge for you, but I just would not have survived it. I barely beat both of them. Anyway, N beat Alder, surrounded the Pokemon League with his castle, and summoned Reshiram with the Lightstone, while I summoned the greatest Pokemon ever, I love Zekrom, and triggered the coolest cutscene ever. Then I caught Zekrom, sadly eternally boxed him, and began my battle with N. I started off with Luna against Reshiram to see if I could use Endeavor, but I immediately got one shot. Nurse Joy was next, and I Toxic'd and set up a Reflect. I sent out Paddington as fodder, getting his first appearance in the league. He really dropped off in usefulness about halfway through the game, especially when I got Emolga and Basculin. I sent out Blue Eye next because the Toxic Poisoning had gotten Reshiram down to the red, but N full restored, so I switched back to Nurse Joy and got off another Toxic before Nurse Joy fell. I sent out Doc, who got chip damage before fainting as well. Luxury was next, and she just barely didn't KO with a fake out, but the Toxic took Reshiram out. I revived Doc while N sent out Klinklang. I sent Doc in, but Klinklang was actually Zoroark in disguise. I switched to Blue Eye, who got down to the red from a crit Night Slash, but knocked out Zoroark eventually, meaning the real Kling Klang was sent out. I stalled to heal with Luna before sending out Doc, whose Thunderbolt did almost half. Then I set up a light screen and got taken out, but Blue Eye finished Kling Klang off. He also took out Caracosta by himself. When N sent out Archeops, I revived Nurse Joy and let him take me out. Then I revived Blue Eye while Archeops took out Nurse Joy, and Blue Eye destroyed Archeops. I healed up Luxury this time against Vanillux and switched into her after Blue Eye fainted to revive Blue Eye and wait out Vanillux's hail. I sent out Nurse Joy after Luxury fell and Toxic the Vanillux before sending Blue Eye back out to finish the job. Blue Eye once again carried me to victory. Now, I only had one fight left between my team and I, and the credits. Getsis. I started off with Luxury against his Cofagrigus. I make the absolute pro gamer move of using Fake Out on a Ghost type, but bounced back, knocking it out with 2 Night Slashes. But I got Toxiced and died from the poisoning on the same turn. I sent out Paddington as fodder because I thought Getsis was going to use Hydreigon next, but I used Confuse Ray on his Bouffalant instead before being crit one-shot by a head charge, which would have killed me like 3 times over. Nurse Joy is out next, and I set up a Reflect and paralyzed Bouffalant before taking him out with returns. Getsis' scariest Pokemon is up next, Hydreigon. I sent out Luna first to use the Endeavor strategy and heal Nurse Joy while I take big damage from a Dragon Pulse. I bring Hydreigon down to my 12 HP but get taken out in the process. I send out Blue Eye next, but he heals like I expected. I switch to Nurse Joy next, planning to Toxic him but get one shot by a Focus Blast. I sent out Doc next to revive Luna and Nurse Joy while taking damage. I used the same Endeavor strategy with Luna and swapped to Nurse Joy because I thought Getsis would heal him, but he didn't. This time I landed my Toxic and avoided the Focus Blast, slaying the dragon. Blue Eye took care of Seismitoad, but I switched Nurse Joy against Electros. I revived Luxury and Doc while Electros took Nurse Joy out. I sent out Luxury next and got him below half health before getting taken out by a crit Wild Charge. The recoil took him down to the red, and Doc was able to take him down with a Thunderbolt. Bisharp was Getsis' last hope, and I kept Doc in while healing up Blue Eye. Doc went down, and Blue Eye was my last resort. It was the final matchup of the entire game. I used Aqua Tail, which did more than half, while Bisharp's Metal Burst nearly knocked me out. Aqua Tail is 90% accurate, which seems like a lot, but if it's not 100% accurate, it's 50% accurate. Go Team Sky. It was the only thing between me and victory. Luckily, I landed the Aqua Tail and beat Pokemon White with the 6th weakest fully evolved Pokemon in Unova. I'm really proud of this team. It was really fun to use, and there were never any parts of the game that truly frustrated me. I just had a good time. This challenge also made me appreciate these Pokemon, especially Audino and Basculin, who I couldn't have won the game without. Blue Eye was definitely the MVP, and if you like this video, I'm Jack Likes Pokemon, and I've got more videos coming soon. Thank you so much for watching.